Here we are, it's June 23rd. Hi everybody, it's Jane.
And Mike.
From Earth Care Farm. We are on our third succession of green beans. So we thought we'd show you planting succession number 3. If you are a teacher or someone who just got a late start in your garden, it is not too late. There's still a lot you can do. So we're gonna show you planting green beans. Maybe this is your first succession, maybe it's your third. But here's the green beans we planted 3 weeks ago. They're looking pretty good. Someone's taking a little bit of nibble, but I'm not too concerned. We have a lot of lush looking beautiful ones there. All I need is my packet of green beans seed. I'm using the Provider Bush green bean. It's always handy to have a marker with the date so you can remember this for next year. Just stick that in here. Excuse my little volunteer dill. I didn't have the heart to pull it out. You just need a rake. All I've done is made a little furrow with this rake. I'm like a fast and furious kind of gardener. When I have 10 minutes here or there, I like to just get stuff done. So I just kind of ignore what this says, and I just go for quick and easy. I've done this so many times that I just know they'll come up great, even if they're a little closer than the packet says. Close up my packet and cover up my beans. About an inch of cover here, and you're covering with this beautiful dark lush soil, which hopefully you have in your gardens too, so you know they're tucked in nicely. And then we'll water this evening. So that's green beans, super easy. It took about a minute. Let's move on to our next succession. We're going to do cucumbers. Here we are. We're doing our second succession of summer squash and zucchini. Right here I have the Gazelle zucchini. Poppy's keeping me on track with my list of what I need to do. This is a little finer than the last one because even just one seed kind of will germinate and go a long way. With the beans we can plant a lot closer. Super simple. I haven't done a thing to this bed since last fall. And when you start really building up your soil, not compacting it by walking on it, just having a nice airy bed, boy, I don't have to do a thing. You can see how easy it is for me to dig right into there. I'm just gonna drop my seed and cover. About 18 inches away. Again, I don't measure. I don't have a lot of time. there's a lot to do on the farm. It can be approximate. I'm going for progress, not perfection. And I just want to eat good food and not overstress about it. This is supposed to be relaxing. I'm only gonna plant 4 plants because, boy oh boy, have you ever seen all the roadside stands with all the extra zucchini? It happens fast. So if every 3 weeks you plant 3 or 4 plants, you'll have a nice steady supply of summer squash and zucchini without having to make your neighbors all take a whole bunch. But you'll still have plenty to share even. Succession is very important, otherwise you have a bushel basket of food that you really can't eat. You then can also just provide more for your family for a longer amount of time. And then always important, it's easy to forget where you're planted. I just bought a box of craft sticks, 500 in a box, and I just write on there Gazelle zucchini, the date we planted, boom, done. Okay, let's go on to the next. What's next, Poppy? Cucumbers. Yep. So here we are, we're planting our third succession of cucumbers, June 23rd. And I have 2 types of cucumbers that I really like. The Market More cucumber, classic. We've grown this for 40 years, so good. And then a newer variety for me, the China Jade, which is these cool, really long, beautiful ones that they seem to not get bitter when it gets to be really hot. So second year doing these, really happy with both varieties. Again, this is kind of newer for me. Usually I spend a little more time preparing the bed, but I'm finding the microbes are just loving this little bit of stuff left over from last fall and winter. And I'm just gonna leave it. It looks a little bit messier, but I'm okay with that, knowing that it's super nutritious for the microbes. And it's, again, huge time saver. This no-till is like hugely time saving. I'm gonna put 2 seeds in each hole here, and I'm just gonna do 4 plants. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 here of my Market More, and then I'll do the same with the China Jade. Same exact thing. And it's so cool, and it will be about 58 days, and we will have cucumbers on these just as we're finishing up harvesting cucumbers from the first 2 varieties. So let's move on. What's next on the list?
Carrots and beets.
All right, let's do it. So here we are, we're doing our second, usually this would be my third succession of carrots, but I got a little far behind, so this is my second succession of carrots. We're doing the Napoli carrot today, and followed in the same bed by the beets. We're gonna do the Detroit dark red short top beet. Delicious beet, love a beet salad in the summer. Poppy's told me it's time for carrots and beets, so that's what we're doing. Again, I'm pretty laid back about my planting style. Carrot seeds are super tiny. I find it's easier just to use my wrist and do this rather than try to measure out too precisely. And I can always thin them out. But usually they just push each other aside. It's pretty great. So I really only need to do about 5-6 feet of bed space here of carrots. And then in 3 weeks we'll do another succession. We can do these right until the end of July. A succession every 3 weeks. Mark it with my handy craft stick. And now we're doing our beets. Same style, Easy Jane style. One thing about carrots and beets, you really do have to keep the seed bed watered until they germinate, and they do take a little while to germinate, just a couple weeks. So that is Poppy's job, keep these watered.
I'm the water boy.
All right, great. Now I'll cover them, which I put my rake.
There's so many different sizes of seeds. You saw Jane plant the beans, that's a big seed. This carrot is a very tiny seed. And they all get covered slightly different.
Out in the fields, I do use an earthway seeder rather than just this hand method because I have, 400-foot beds to do. But in the home garden, I just like to feel the seeds, really get in touch with them. This super simple way of covering.
See, these tiny seeds get a very light covering.
The rule is that you cover twice as deep as the seed is big. So that's not much when you have a tiny little carrot seed. And done. Here we are going to do our second succession of cilantro and dill. I'm using the Caribe cilantro. I have these this is maybe 2 feet of a bed space. You can do so much in a little space, and it's so easy. So I'm just going to use my wrist again, a little bit of flick here. Cilantro is super easy to germinate. It's one of those crops that doesn't last long. If you plant it once and it goes to seed and you're bummed out, you think you did something wrong. You didn't. It just does that. You just have to keep planting it. Every few weeks, you'll get a nice long crop that way. And next one is dill. That's it. That's all we did. Got my stick. Gonna mark where my dill's going. Gonna make my super simple rows here. Again, just about 2 feet. You really don't need much for your little kitchen garden. But you'll notice this soil makes a difference. Beautiful black, luscious soil makes everything easy. Seed packets, one thing I want to point out, there's always a bigger flap at the top and a smaller one at the bottom. If you open the bigger flap, it does reseal, which is really handy. If you open at the bottom, it does not reseal, and it's hard to keep your seeds nice that way. Again, so bouquet dill here. Nice for eating, making pickles. Also makes a great cut flower. Attracts beautiful pollinators. And we're gonna cover. All right, cilantro and dill, done in a minute.
Basil and lettuce.
Okay, last one. These ones we're gonna seed into trays. So Poppy says it's time for planting our third round of basil and lettuce. I find that easier to do in a tray that I can really take care of, and then when the seedlings get to a certain size, then transplant them out. This is a tray called a 72, it has 72 holes. I filled it with our potting soil. I've actually planted the basil, the Genovese basil, which is our pesto basil, and the Crispino lettuce, which is a nice crispy summer lettuce. And I'll show you, I'm gonna do the same exact thing with this basil leaf lettuce, a new basil for me that I think is gonna be great for pesto, bigger leaves than the Genovese. And all I do is I use my fingers to they make perfect holes for the little cell packs. Open my basil top flap so I can reseal it. Basil seeds are super tiny, so I'm just gonna drop 1 to 2 seeds in each hole here. and then cover with a scant amount of potting soil because these are such tiny seeds. They just need to be covered twice as deep as they are big, which is not very much. Then keep this watered every day, and when the seedlings get to be established, we'll put them in the garden. So that's our third round of basil so that we can have pesto all summer. Grammy freezes that. It's a good part of our diet here. Anything you want to add?
It's delicious.
Yeah, everything here is just so enjoyable, nutritious. Make gardening relaxing and fun for you, and easy. So thank you.
Thank you.